Coming up next on Boston Rock Talk, former Bostonian Ellis Paul, a winner of multiple Boston Music Awards. Ellis is a veteran singer-songwriter who has carved out a deep fan base with his engaging and original songs. Hello, my name is Jim Sullivan, and welcome to Boston Rock Talk. This is a show where we will have musicians on set. We'll be interviewing them and probing their minds and then having them play some songs for us. And right now we have Ellis Paul, a former Bostonian who has left our parts but is often back in our parts to play. Welcome, Ellis.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back in Boston.
Good to have you here. Ellis is a storyteller in song. Are you not?
I try to be. I think when I'm doing it at my best, that's what happens.
I want to ask you about perspective in the music that you do. Is it always you as the character singing, or are you singing outside of who you are?
Well, you know, I do a lot of character-driven songs that aren't supposed to be me, but it's tough to keep me out of the picture. You know, like it's the same issue Van Gogh had when he was painting a cornfield. Everyone could see the cornfield, but the yellows were really bipolar against the black of the crows, and your personality comes through whatever you're siphoning through your creative, filters. So my life is going to be drenched in those people's voices as well as theirs.
Well, I think one of sometimes the problems with a lot of younger or modern singer-songwriters is it's all about them. And, maybe it's the oversharing culture, I don't know. But you seem to like history, like knowing things and incorporating them into your songs.
Well, when you're just starting out, you tend to filter through those first few songs that are about the immediacy of your life, your girlfriends, your parents, your friends, the relationships in your peer level group, and after you burn those songs out, then you start going a little bit deeper, and then suddenly it's about your childhood and your experiences that you had then, or maybe it's about people outside that circle. And the longer you do it, the deeper you go, and then suddenly you have access to the entire world. And I think that's the good thing about being at it for 26 years. Like, I can write about my personal life. I don't often do it anymore. I don't focus on it unless there's some therapeutic reason for it to pop out. But I like deconstructing the world and relationships and the things that I view as important, and trying not only figure them out for myself, but figure them out for people who are hearing the songs in a way that makes them maybe think or feel something that they didn't have access to on their own.
Are there times when you complete a song where you find that you have figured out something that's been puzzling you? In other words, the answer sort of comes through song?
Yeah, well, it's not sometimes there's no real answer, no direct answer, but the questioning and the exploring is the important part, It's hard to come up with a song with such a clear moral, and those songs tend to be really trite and about things people already know, but it's just the thinking. I mean, how often do you think of a subject and then spend, 20 days writing about it, and that's what writing a song is.
Well, shall we have you play one of the new ones from the record? The record is Chasing Beauty. Just came out on September 1st, and what are you going to play from it?
This is the first cut on the record, and it's called Never Want to Lose You.
Go for it.
Thanks, Jim. Sidewalk, sidewalk, take me where the concrete ends. I wanna go. Can't hear myself talk. The walls of Jericho or Cumberland. If you let me speak, I'll tell you how you make me feel. Oh, my heart's not weak. It's skipping like a river stone. You don't even know me. If you think I give up easily, I don't want to lose you. I never want to lose you. Though I've been doing my damnedest to make you think I'm no good at this. Black top, take me where the highway ends. I wanna go where the dreams walk. I wanna take what's mine and roll back again. We've come so far. I'd follow you wherever you are. Love can't scar, just throws you in a one-man clown car. You don't know me if you think I give up easily. I don't want to lose you. I never want to lose you. No, I've been doing my damnedest to make you think I'm no good at this. I was wrong and I claim it. I'm the one to blame for it. No need to stand here and shout. There is nothing so wrong with us. There's what's right with us. Cannot figure it out. I don't want to lose you. I never want to lose. I know this craziness I do. I've been doing my damnedest to make you think I'm no good at
Very nice. And
Thank you.
The takeaway there is you do not want to lose her. That is clear. The songs, are they always you or are they characters?
It varies, you know. A lot of the songs on this new one are characters. There's a song written from the perspective of a soldier coming back from war called Plastic Soldiers. And there's a song written from the perspective of the Empire State Building, and that was fun to write. There's a song that was inspired by a local hero in Boston, Dennis Brennan, who's sort of the godfather of the Boston rock scene, and that was fun to write. And so, you know, but they all walk through the filter of my life, and you know, I color it with things I care about and my tone of voice, and you know how I feel about the subject matter. So,
is there a overarching theme to the new record, do you think, or are they simply songs put together that were in your head over the period of recording?
Well, I think there's a historical bent to some of the songs. You know, there's a song about Johnny Cash and obviously the Empire State Building, and even with the Soldier song, I think those songs sort of are trying to deconstruct what we are as a country and some important things within it and what we've been going through over the last, you know, even century. So, yeah. So you know, it's. I feel like those songs, again, you know, they're part of me. Those are the things I care about, and even though they're not always written from my perspective, I feel like my interests and my investment in them are really present.
It's been mentioned that some of what you've been writing about are about heroes or your heroes. You've also got a children's book and 2 albums, I think, right? 2 children's albums, dealing with heroes that are maybe not the heroes that people sometimes think of as heroes. And I know they're certainly not the quarterback who scores a touchdown or the hitter who hits it over the wall. It's a different kind of heroism you're talking about.
Well, I think, you know, heroes are people that put themselves at some kind of risk. It's not always physical risk. Sometimes it's financial risks. Sometimes it's career risks. People like Johnny Cash obviously was just willing to say what was on his mind and suffered by it sometimes. And and with my children's music, Rosa Parks and Jackie Robinson obviously was an extraordinary talent, but the bigger story there is that he broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball, and not only was an amazing player, but managed to be an amazing human being during that whole transitional period in our history, where he was the focal point. And so it's about, and people like T-Tot, there's a song about T-Tot on the Kids record, and he taught Hank Williams how to play the blues. And here's this black man from Alabama being basically followed by a young Hank Williams who's 12 or 13, who's basically just shadowing him all over the place to the point where he had to tell his mother to stop.
There are no pictures of him, right? Is that true?
No, there aren't. I've been to his grave site. I mean, you can photograph his gravestone. That's about as close as you can get. But so I had, with the book, we had to make some assumptions about, what his dress would be like, and the kind of hat he'd wear, and what kind of guitar he'd play.
I know you're going to play the Johnny Cash song in a couple minutes, but let me just ask you about that. Johnny was one of my heroes too, and actually the first concert I ever saw when I was 12 was Johnny Cash.
Wow. The
Statler Brothers and the Tennessee Three in Bangor, Maine.
Wow, you got that, and I got Ted Nugent and Presque Isle.
Ah, no.
I think you win.
Wow, dude, I do win. That's good.
He did come out he was in his Tarzan stage, and he did come out on a vine. I'm sure Johnny Cash didn't do that.
He did not. He was I was after the Prison albums, which I loved, and A Boy Named Sue, which I loved. Maybe this would be a good time. Tell me why.
Sure.
Tell me why you wrote the song. I mean, what did he mean to you? And
well, there's the stance on the songs that he was willing. He was really a folk singer in a lot of ways. I mean, he was doing a lot of the same role playing that Woody Guthrie was doing. He was writing about people that were working and people that were suffering, and not afraid to do that, and especially in conjunction with what today's country music sounds like, which is so commercialized, including the content. If anything is outside of a safe box, it won't work its way onto the air. That doesn't mean there aren't great country songs. There's some great country songs that actually can fit into that box, but Johnny's never would. I don't think you can think of one Johnny Cash song that would fit the mold of what contemporary country music is. And
well, as has been said, people like George Jones and Johnny Cash wouldn't have a place on contemporary country music anymore.
They wouldn't, and that's one reason why I wrote it. And then and then there's the greater picture of his personal life and the history of his struggling with addictions, and he had this. He managed to be iconic by being very masculine and vulnerable in the same moment. Like it wasn't like he was showing weakness, just vulnerability. Not like Elvis, who managed to be masculine but showed weakness in a way that wasn't always attractive. But Johnny's was like, for some reason you knew that he was at war with himself in a public way, and he beat a lot of those demons back, which was pretty amazing. And so that's inspirational too, and that's one reason why I think something about just even seeing a photograph of him can shake you in a way.
Yeah, it's a very iconic image. Well, why don't you go for Johnny?
All right.
All right.
Johnny Cash, the man in black, was at the Grand Ole Opry, drunk on ambition, whiskey, coffee, was dancing with demons, but nothing could stop him tonight. But it felt like a church. He said a little prayer, ran to the stage, taking 2 and 3 stairs. He'd heckle old Johnny, he wouldn't care, 'cause tonight he's gonna kick off the lights, Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick off the lights, Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick off the lights. Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick out the lights. Now you can play a big theater, the chandeliers and pearls. Rage inside a stadium, the rows of pretty girls. Take your fancy jet tour around the world if you like. It's alright. Or you can play folks in prison to the robbers, the crooks, the 300 killers giving back dirty looks. If there's a prison riot, you're gonna get the hook show tonight. You better kick off the lights, kick off the lights. Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick out the lights, Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick out the lights, Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick out the lights. Oh, play on, John. Johnny till the last note's gone. Rage, oh, rage on, John. Johnny till the last note's gone. Go and sing your little love song about lying, leaving your mama's good cook and how you can't break even your pickup truck or how your girlfriend's cheating. It's alright if you lie, or you can sing a ring of fire and how God cut you down about cocaine, freight train, Sunday morning coming down. I shot a man in Reno to paint the town. Well, damn right, you'd be kicking out the lights, kick out the lights. Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick out the lights, Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick out the lights, Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, John. Kick out the lights, kick out the lights.
Excellent. You think Johnny would like that?
You know, that begs the question. And I think just as a song, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
He'd love that.
Yeah.
Whether he'd be comfortable with all the attention, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
I don't, but
you know, he's so cool that you just got to write about songs and not worry about the consequences. Kind of like Joan Rivers, you got to make the joke and not worry about the consequences.
Exactly. No, he was fearless. You can take that liberty too. That's good. Hey, just switching topics a bit here, and it's something obviously integral to your career. The Farrel Brothers have been very, very good to you, have they not?
They have been, yeah.
Tell the people what they've done for you.
Well, the Farrel Brothers are directors in Hollywood, and they're from the Providence area, so they're New England boys, and they've been using my songs in a lot of their movies. They've put me in 3 movies so far, and I actually did the soundtrack to a movie called Hall Pass, which was, they just took instrumental tracks off of my last record, stripped the vocal out, and just used the guitar pieces, and it was amazing to watch the movie, and then in the subcontext, my songs running through the film, which was thrilling, because I always consider myself as a songwriter, not an instrumentalist, but those pieces work great in the film.
What do you think they like about you for their films? I mean, their films are kind of, they're not broad comedies necessarily, but they're comedies, and you're not a comedy writer.
Yeah, and they're edgy comedies, and they're always trying to see, how far they can take things.
Right.
And I think I provide a sweet spot for them. I mean, you'd have to ask them, I think, to get their take on it, but when they need sort of sonic sensitivity, they bring me in. And
you and Jonathan Richman sometimes, right?
Yes,
as
well.
Yes.
Same kind of deal there.
That's funny. You're the sensitive part of the Farrel Brothers, represented by Ellis Paul. That's good. Oh, God. You've been doing this, 25, 26 years? Recording, playing.
Touring and performing and traveling. And
many, 19 albums, am I right there?
19 projects.
Projects,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
How do you see your career arc if you have to step back and look at it?
Right now, it looks like a complete mess.
Okay, explain.
I've got Christmas albums and kids albums and duo records and cover records and live albums and a children's book now, and I'll probably have more children's books and more and novels and 20, 30 more albums coming, and it's just a pile.
How old do you plan on getting to be?
I want to do the Pete Seeger route. I'm hoping that I can get to my 90s and still be active. But I love creating, and you know, I want to leave a pile behind, and that's what it feels. From my objective perspective on myself, it looks like a pile of stuff that somebody hopefully will want to wade through at some point in their lives and just pick out the gems and for whatever those gems are for them.
Tell me about the novel. I didn't know about that. Are you working on one now? Is that...
No, I just, you know, it's just something I want to do. You know, I draw and I paint and I write and then I do music, and that's those are the things I do. I've done posters for big folk festivals, and I've now done this children's book. I'd like to illustrate one of the children's books that I put out, and eventually I'd like to write a novel and a book of short stories and that kind of thing.
You reminded me of a mutual friend of ours, the late Bill Morrissey,
Yeah.
who became he was a wonderful folk singer and novelist, later novelist, and unfortunately is no longer with us, but he played a part in your early days, did he not?
He did. He was a major force in my life, especially in the early days. He produced my first album, and you know, I always say about Bill, it was like having Van Gogh in the neighborhood. It was like we were so lucky to have him, and he was so willing to share himself in a way that would make us learn, and he broadened my horizons and got me interested in music I didn't even know existed, and then just mentored and shepherded my first album project, and because of that, I'm trying to do the same thing for up-and-coming songwriters, and I've been doing it for the last 10, 15 years, just herding people into my business, and then once they've been shepherded, I kick them out and bring in the next one.
I know Bill obviously had problems with alcohol, and I was noticing in your new music, some of your characters seem to as well. And talk about that a little bit. I mean, that seems to be the good times of alcohol are tempered by some real bad times in song, anyway.
Yeah, I have a song called "Wasted" that was inspired by a friend of mine who finally got a DUI and had to spend some jail time, and it really changed it saved his life, really, and we all do things to escape, and alcohol seems to be the first thing on the shelf most people go for because it's just so readily available. But people use drugs and food and sex, and you know, it's so prevalent in our lives that if it shows up in my songs both positively and negatively, and this album has a couple drinking characters in it, but I think those songs offer some insight and maybe a little humor even to the people that are hearing them.
Do another song in a minute, and I know one of them you're doing this drive-in movie.
Yeah.
There are drive-ins still?
Yes, you know, I'm trying to find them to find a video set.
Are you?
Yeah. So I found one that's about an hour and a half away from where I live down in Virginia, and it's warm enough so that this time of year they're still functioning. And
well, you growing up in northern Maine and me in central Maine, we had drive-ins, did we not?
We did.
As kids, we had
yeah.
drive-ins.
I remember being 16 and trying to see a movie.
Because it was rated R.
Oh, right. And sneaking in. And
did you ever ride in the trunk of the car to get in?
I didn't, but I remember being jammed behind the driver's side and the passenger side.
Well, there was that. Really, we only have 4 people.
Right.
Yeah, right, kid. Pop the trunk.
Yeah.
What the drive-in movie? Would you like to?
Sure. Yeah. Let's
tell
do
us
it.
about that. Good.
Oh, sure.
In song.
Oh, in song. Sure.
In song. Yeah.
That's an awkward segue.
Yes, but that's all right. Awkward's good. We like awkward moments.
Take me to a drive-in movie. Put your body right next to me. Whisper promises to me. Roll the windows down. When you look at me like that, kiss me and I kiss you right back. Break your heart, give it to me. Take me to a drive-in movie. Take me on a long vacation, outbound from an old train station. We'll watch the world go by till we close our eyes in a sleeping car. Wake up in a brand new place. You're the only one who knows my face. Looking for a little salvation. Take me on a long vacation. Take me, doesn't matter where we go. Take me on a roller coaster. I wanna feel my heart turn over till I'm upside down, can't touch the ground, there's no gravity. I wanna feel my blood rush, just like the first time we touched. Wanna fall over and over and over. Take me on a roller coaster. Take me, doesn't matter where we go. Take me, I don't even have to know. Take me slow. Take me to a drive-in movie. Slide a little closer to me.
And now back in the hot seat.
Yeah, this is fun.
That's nice, man. You were talking to me before. We exchanged emails, actually, and we were talking about sort of the money part of the song. I guess the key, the hook, the riff, the what have you. Tell people about that thing in your head.
I kind of want to guarantee that there's some magic moment that's unique to that song that's going to happen, and hopefully there's a multitude of them. But and sometimes it can just be like a little bit of a vocal break on what you're doing on the chorus or something. You'll lift up an octave, or sometimes it's just a sweet line that you know people will, try and filter through their brain, and a little thought pretzel will happen inside, and they'll go back to the song to hear it.
I like that, thought pretzel.
They'll like, what do you mean by, oh, wow, that's cool. And
it's like the Steely Dan Pretzel Logic album. It took
Right.
me a while to figure that out.
Right.
But
That's the kind of thing,
Yeah.
it's like it takes you on just a tiny, quick little journey in your head. And sometimes it's a guitar riff or something musical that's created by the band. And, I try and put those things in every song. And sometimes, every verse will have that one sweet little moment. And usually it's in a lyric. And you want the hook on the chorus to be, beautiful.
Do you find people misinterpret your songs very often? And if so, do you care?
Oh, I don't care. I mean, some of them, art is really, it's almost like a three-dimensional thing in how it's interpreted. It's meant to be created by the artist, and then it's meant to be presented, and then it's meant to be interpreted. by a third party, and they're going to see it through the filter of their lives. So on that one, they're thinking back. I mean, if you were listening to it, you're thinking back to the girl that you were with at the drive-in,
Right,
and who she was and why she was in your life. So it's not my girlfriend, or it's not my friends. It's those are the people I'm writing about in my head, but people are seeing it through their own filter in their own lives, and so the characters become cast and in their head, and it's cool that way. I think art's supposed to be, this is why Katy Perry doesn't do anything for me, but why my daughters, who are 7 and 10, think that she's Bob Dylan comparatively. Because they speak to her.
You brought it up. I got to ask, what do they think of Dear Old Dad?
They love what I do. I think.
You do bring home the bacon. They got to love that part. But
they love eating. Eating is really important.
The
really
roof thing, the roof over their heads,
clothing. They love it.
They like the music, though.
Yeah,
they do. Good.
They do. The breadth of it hasn't quite hit them yet, and probably won't until they're in their 20s. But I'm sure there'll be a moment in high school where they just want to flee from anything related to what I do. But
of course, super uncool. Of course, yes, yeah.
But I've got videos of them dancing as I'm playing guitar, and I'm so glad I have them, because they're interpretive dancing while I'm playing, those kind of guitar pieces, and it's incredible.
I want to ask you this about family and your life as a musician on the road. You do 200 gigs a year or something like that, right? You're a road dog. You're out there, and I know you're writing about things you see on the road as well. So it's not just performing; it's kind of assimilating and learning. But you've got a family too. How do you reconcile the two? How does it work?
It's tough. It puts a lot of pressure on their mom for taking care of them, because I'm gone a lot. But I love what I do, and I love being a dad at the same time. And it's hard to reconcile the two of them, because I'm in artist mode 4 days a week, and then I'm in dad mode 4 days a week. So it's so there's that little gray area where I'm shifting into one zone and then shifting out of the other zone, and it can spin your head, because you have to be present for them. And sometimes when you come home and you've just done 5 shows in a row, and you just drove all the way home from Michigan so you could be at a parent-teacher conference, like, you're not entirely in your body yet. But there's just nothing like my kids, no matter how grumpy or whatever mood they're in, it's just it's that magic thing.
Is there a song for them on the record too?
Yeah, there are a couple songs that are inspired just by by loving that loving relationship that you get with kids. It's not. I think they're pretty general parenting kind of songs, but they're artful. They're not sort of in the dorky category of like, she's brushing her teeth, now she has to eat broccoli or something.
They're not like the oral equivalent of a picture of a 2-year-old in a bathtub.
Right, yeah, right.
They're
not like vacation movie kind of songs. So,
that's good. The title track is Chasing Beauty. You want to talk a little bit about that? I know we're going to go out with that as a song. Tell me where that came from.
That song is about a relationship and a road trip. And looking back at it from where I am now to when I was then, which was in your early 20s, it's about your first road trip when you're going on the highway, you're pulling out on the highway and you feel that euphoria you got when it was the first time, and your parents weren't in the car, and they don't have anything to do with where you're going and what you're doing. And then it's about that relationship with the person, and how you're just chasing after experience after experience after experience. And it doesn't really matter where you are, it's about where you're going next. You might be standing in front of the Grand Canyon, you're like, what are we doing next? Let's go, let's go to Vegas, let's go, wherever.
It's a hopeful song, certainly.
Yeah.
Full of anticipation.
Yeah, and talking about looking at the span of the narrator's life since that moment, and where the relationship is now,
I want to ask you too, you don't do a lot of negative songs, do you? I mean, to touch on harsh.
You've got a lot of nerve to say you were my friend. I haven't written many of those kind of songs, but I'm sure they're in me.
There'll be a dark album coming at some point.
I'll do it, the one where I'm really
But no, I mean, that must be a choice in some way to kind of keep it fairly positive, I would think.
I guess, I just kind of write about what my personality allows to come through. So I mean, I love a lot of those songs. You know, a lot of those songs are among my favorites. But I haven't written many of them, and maybe it's just not something I do. But I'm always open. I didn't really have to be pissed off to be, you know. I'm not afraid to be that. So,
Right.
you know,
Well, all right. Well, we've been talking about beauty, chasing beauty. Thank you for coming here.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You've been watching Boston Rock Talk with your host, Jim Sullivan. That's me. Ellis Paul has been our guest today. And we will see you next time. Ellis, you want to play us out?
Sure. Thanks, Jim.
Go
Thanks
for
for
it.
having me.
Let's shoot out the satellites. We're throwing wishes at the twilight. And how you were raging, blazing, occasionally raising a bottle to the night. Set a woman in motion, stays in motion, can't be stopped by mountain, man, or ocean. Tell me, is your world so fast that you can't stand still at a crossroads time? We both lost track. Time was an open road, and you can't look back when you're chasing beauty, beauty on an open road. Ooh. You're lit up like a matchbox light, like a train on fire, blazing in the moonlight. Are you alright? I'm alive and wide awake. The highway rises, turns and falls like an Oklahoma waterfall. Come jump in. The water was cool and your words held promises, love. Oh, we both lost track. Love was an open road. You can't look back when you're chasing beauty, beauty, beauty. Ooh. We are refugees on the Mississippi. Oh, we are runaways at the Golden Key. We're chasing oh, little Miss Satellite, you'll never be captured like a box kite. You'll never be held down by a ghost town, watching this world spin circles in the night. You set a woman in motion, stays in motion, can't be stopped by mountain, man, or ocean. Tell me, is your world so fast you can't stand still at a crossroads time? We both lost track. Time was an open road, and you can't look back when you're chasing